Top of the morning, y'all. Hope you're doing good. This is one of those summers where I think all the mamas across the USA are like, look, these kids gotta go. You gotta go do something. You gotta go back to school. Y'all gotta learn something. You know, at my house, my wife's going, you boys, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, one of those things. And, you know, I think it's great. They all gotta learn something. They gotta get back. This video is sponsored by Backyard Butchers, y'all. I really feel sorry for anybody that hadn't heard of these guys at this point, y'all, because most of the meat we get in grocery stores it's not really a product of America, even though it's stamped that way. And so you got to pay attention to that stuff. This is the steakhouse beef without the steakhouse prices. And I just think this stuff is amazing because it ain't injected with hormones or steroids or any of that kind of stuff. So go to backyardbutchers.com/buddy. This is the true farm to table experience. You're going to get 20% off your order. These guys have been a huge hit with my subscribers, so buy you a box and check these out. The link is going to be below. All right, y'all, so I strongly believe that Mark Zuckerberg could be a strong candidate for an alien. At least all the good old boys I've sat around with, drank beer on a tailgate, you know, swatted mosquitoes with, all seem to think so. And this alien ain't dumb. And that's what I want to talk about today. Zuckerberg himself probably sat down with about 100 friends one time. I'm sorry, friends. Employees. And he sat down with 100 employees and he goes, how can we make rednecks be addicted to Facebook for the next 100 years to come? And one of the guys stands up, he's like, Mr. Zuckerberg, I got it. We will create something called Facebook Marketplace. See, a couple years ago, I had this Andy Griffith moment where you just think about the wisdom that was passed on from that show, and then I started thinking more and more about it, and it got passed on to me, and I passed on to my son. As y'all know, I bought that square body truck 2 years ago, but the hunt was really interesting. My son Wyatt, he was like 12 at the time. He was all about it. He got his laptop open and he's like, I'll help you find one. He's like, Dad, I'm looking at all these sites all across America to try to find the perfect truck, right? And finally, after 2 hours, we've been batting a bunch around. He found this perfect candy apple red. It was beautiful. And this is where the learning lesson comes in right here. I'm gonna show you all the difference between a GED in Facebook Marketplace and a PhD in Facebook Marketplace. I said, the outside looked good. And the original beauty was definitely there. Burt Reynolds himself would have drooled over this truck. But you get to the interior, and the upholstery was all right, but the seller had left like empty water bottles all over the place. There was McDonald's wrappers, I kid you not. Trash all over the floorboard. This wasn't no work truck. I need y'all to understand this. He was asking premium for this truck. I said to my son, I said, Wyatt, hold up. I asked him, I said, what does this tell you? And he just shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. I said, this man is trying to sell a truck, right, for top dollar. If it was me, I would armor all the dashboards, make them look amazing. I'd vacuum out the floorboard real good. I'd clean the windows, all that kind of stuff, and then take the picture. Then make it look good. Especially if you're asking for what he's asking for. I said this guy didn't even bother to clean up the floorboard to sell this truck. If he can't pay attention to those small details, how many other details did he actually skip with the maintenance and the oil changes and the fluid levels, you name it? And my son's like, oh, I get it now. I thought about the verse Luke 16:10. He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. Amen? If you can't even clean up the trash all over your floorboard, how am I going to trust you with the history of this truck? Back in my country music days, I was touring all over America, had a great time. I did a 12-city tour with Justin Moore and John Party. We had a blast. I remember one of those nights I talked to one of their managers, and they were telling me about this story about how they had technical contracts with every single different concert venue they went into. And one of the stipulations was to have a bag of yellow M&Ms inside. Some of y'all have heard this story. They probably copied it from somebody else. But the yellow M&Ms were pivotal. They had to be there. The whole point was, if they walked into the concert venue that night and they saw the dadgum yellow M&Ms sitting on a table, with 436 other things that had to be accomplished to make them look and sound good that night and perform well, then they knew they could relax about the whole thing because those yellow M&Ms are there. I never forgot that. The reason I'm telling y'all this is we live in a world now where very few people take care of the small details. They just don't. And y'all have noticed this. That kind of character and mindset are just out of style these days, but they're more valuable than ever. Down here in the South, a man's truck represents who he is. It represents the man himself. So if you're really being honest with yourself, some of y'all really walk into relationships and purchases with, 63 different red flags, and then you're surprised when things go sideways. And look, we've all ignored red flags before. It happens. But as you get older, those red flags should become deal breakers. And I know this ain't Mayberry, and Andy Griffith ain't here anymore, and all this kind of stuff, but this video is about remembering your roots and where you came from, because that truth you were taught a long, long time ago, it ain't changed, and it sure ain't gone anywhere. And I guarantee you, my son, the next time he comes across one of these situations, he's gonna take note of the little things, which hopefully will pass on to the friends he chooses in life, and then ultimately the wife he chooses to marry. And that's what I'm trying to set up for, for him right there. Because the good ones ain't the trashy ones. Y'all see what I'm saying? Just a little Southern wisdom I wanted to pass on to you. I feel like my granddad would say if he was still here. Y'all be sure to subscribe, because this channel right here is going to keep you sane for the next few years. I promise you that. Get you some Backyard Butchers. This stuff tastes amazing. God bless you. Be good.